What's up YouTube, and welcome to a new video where I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Actually, I do have an idea. So in this video, I'm going to talk about something that recently happened to me and my students. So it was in summer last year. I was teaching my students Japanese. We started talking about something crazy. And from that topic, we drifted away and we started to get into something completely disconnected from what we started originally, but still had a connection. And I think this is pretty interesting. And I'm going to actually go over the different process and the way the discussion was going, and where we started and where we arrived from that conversation. So it all started when my student was bringing a guitar to the classroom, and I asked her, okay, what are you doing with the guitar? It's a Japanese class. And she said that, oh, I can't leave the guitar in my car because the heat is too high. And I found this was interesting, and I said, oh yeah, that's right, it's and the strings could melt, and this would be damaging the guitar. She has like a guitar lessons after Japanese lessons, so she usually keeps the guitar in the car, but not this time because it was too hot outside. So it is true that within minutes, and when the temperature rises to 35 degrees, like it happens in the middle of summer in Okinawa, then the interior of the car can get very hot very quickly. And this means that on a sunny 30 degrees Sunday, an enclosed car could easily become life-threateningly hot in under about 20 minutes. And even if the windows are slightly open, the difference is minimal for safety. The funny thing is, she started saying, well, if it's the case for a car, then how can we survive saunas? And I thought this was actually a very good question, because it is true that if we say 35 degrees outside and the car heat up very quickly, the maximum temperature in extreme sun with dark trim or dashboard could actually rise up to 80 degrees or more. And in a sauna, you can actually go up to 100 degrees. So if being in a car after 20 minutes in the sun is life-threatening, then how can we survive sauna? So I thought that the question was legitimate. So the big difference between a hot sauna and a hot car and a sauna is that in a sauna you control exposure time. In a car, you're trapped, or you may not realize how fast it's heating. In a sauna, you enter for a short, deliberate session. It's often 5 to 20 minutes, and then you cool down. You're hydrated and prepared. Sauna goers drink water before and after, and sometimes even during. In a car, you may already be dehydrated, which makes overheating much more dangerous. Another difference is the air quality and circulation. Saunas have ventilations. Fresh air is pulled in and stale air out. A sealed car's air quickly becomes stale and stuffy, with CO2 rising and oxygen dropping slightly. There are also differences in humidity. A dry sauna, which is around 10 to 20% humidity, allows sweat to evaporate quickly, helping cool your body. A car can become humid if you're sweating, which slows cooling. A steam sauna, which has 100% humidity, feels hotter, but again, you leave quickly. And the last but not least difference is the psychological and physical readiness. In a sauna, you expect heat, dress lightly or not at all, and your body is ready to sweat immediately. In a car, you might be wearing heavy clothes and you're not mentally or physically prepared. So again, from there, my student asked another question, which is, how is sweat evaporating helping you cool down your body? Because she thought it would have been the opposite, which again, I found this question to be very legitimate. It does feel backward at first, but you'd think losing water through sweat would make you warmer because you're losing moisture, but it's all about evaporation physics. Why evaporation cools you? There are a few reasons. Sweat itself isn't cooling. When sweat first appears, it's basically warm water sitting on your skin. If it just stays there, it will trap heat rather than remove it. The second reason is evaporation requires energy. For sweat to turn from liquid to vapor, it needs a lot of energy, called the latent heat of vaporization. That energy comes from your skin's heat. Then the other reason is heat is pulled away from your body. As the sweat molecules escape into the air, they take that heat energy with them. And this drops the temperature of your skin and through blood circulation helps cool your core. So why humidity changes everything? Because in dry air, sweat evaporates quickly and cooling is efficient. In humid air, sweat can't evaporate well. It just drips off you, giving little to no cooling effects. That's why a 40 degrees dry sauna can feel more bearable than a 35 degrees humid jungle. In the jungle, your body's main cooling method is crippled. In short, sweat is just the vehicle. The evaporation is the real cooling mechanism. No evaporation, no cooling, you overheat fast. From that point, my student was asking, so why fans feel cool even though they don't actually lower the air temperature? And it's the same principle, but taken further. So fans feel cool for the exact same reason sweat works. They boost evaporation and heat transfer from your skin. Without a fan, sweat evaporates at the pace allowed by the surrounding air. With a fan, moving air carries away the humid air sitting on your skin and replaces it with drier air. This lets more sweat evaporate. More heat leave your skin. Even if you're not sweating much, your skin is warmer than the surrounding air. Warm air touching your skin heats up and stays there like a blanket. A fan pushes that warm layer away and brings in cooler air, helping transfer heat from your body to the air faster. So why it sometimes feels too cold? It is because if your skin is wet from sweat, shower or swimming, and a strong fan is on you, evaporation happens very quickly. This rapid heat loss can make you feel chilled even if the room temperature is warm. That's why your breeze feels freezing when you step out of the pool. By the way, an important safety point will be that fans only feel cool if the air temperature is below your skin temperature, which is 33 to 35 degrees Celsius. If the air is hotter than that, like in a 45 degrees heat wave, fans can make things worse because they blow hot air over you without adding enough evaporation to offset the heat again. Regarding this, let's have a quick fan safety rule of thumb. So first you have to check the air temperature. So if air is cooler than your skin, like below 35 degrees, then fan helps. If the air is hotter than your skin, then fan can be dangerous. Moving hot air actually adds heat to your body faster than evaporation can remove it, especially if humidity is high. So the second point is the factor in humidity. So if you have low humidity, which is below 50%, fan stays helpful longer, even as air temps approach 38 to 39 degrees, because evaporation is efficient. If the humidity is high, like over 70 degrees, then fan stops helping sooner, even if air is only around 33 to 35 degrees, because evaporation is slow. To test this, there is a simple way. Sit still with the fan on. If you feel cooler after 1 to 2 minutes, it's working. If you feel hotter or sticky, turn it off. You're just blowing hot, moist air onto yourself. When it's above 35 degrees and humid, water misting plus fan works far better than fan alone, because the extra moisture on your skin ensures that some evaporation happens even in muggy air. So the key takeaways are the fan alone is only a safe primary cooling method when the air temperature is below the skin temperature or air temperature is above 35 degrees but humidity is low. The misting plus fan greatly extends safe use in hot, dry air. It works in moderately humid air but not in extreme muggy heat. Air conditioning is the gold standard for safety in any extreme heat scenario. Shade always helps, but in hot, humid, still air, you still overheat without airflow or cooling. To that point, my student asked, so how does sweat work? Sweat is basically your body's built-in air conditioning system, but instead of a compressor and refrigerant, it uses water and evaporation to dump excess heat. So why we sweat? Your brain has a thermostat, the hypothalamus, that constantly monitors your core temperature. If your body temp starts climbing from exercise or hot weather or fever, it tells your eccrine sweat glands to produce sweat. So sweat is made of 99% of water, 1% salts and other substances such as sodium, potassium, chloride, tiny amounts of urea, lactic acid and other stuff. The salt isn't for cooling, it just comes along with the water from your body fluid. And sweat is released onto your skin surface. To turn from liquid into vapor, sweat needs energy, as we discussed earlier already. That energy comes in the form of heat from your skin, the latent heat of vaporizations I was talking about earlier. As the sweat evaporates, it takes that heat away, cooling your skin, and via blood circulation, your core temperature. But sometimes it doesn't work well. So, because of high humidity, when the air is already full of moisture, so sweat can't evaporate easily. There is little cooling. Dehydration, when there is less water in your body, it means less sweat. You have a overheating risk. Clothing, heavy or non-breathable fabrics trap sweat, slowing evaporations. And then we reached to the point that my student was asking, what about like other animals? And again, I found this question was interesting. So some animals cool down without sweating, and their strategies are pretty creative. For instance, panting, which is a strategy used by dogs, cats, and many other birds. So dogs have very few sweat glands, mostly in their paw pads, and they cool off by rapidly breathing with their mouths open and tongue out. You've seen them doing like this. The fast airflow evaporates saliva and moisture from the tongue and mouth lining, pulling heat away. Birds do something similar called gular fluttering, vibrating the throat to increase airflow and evaporation. The other strategy is licking fur, which is done by cats or kangaroos. Cats lick their fur, coating it with saliva. As the saliva evaporates, it cools the skin underneath, basically a spit-based sweat. Kangaroos lick their forearms, where blood vessels are close to the surface, to cool the blood directly. We also have, there's another strategy is wallows and mud baths. So this is a strategy used by pigs, elephants and rhinos. So pigs can't sweat well, so they roll in mud water. Mud keeps them cool by evaporation, plus it acts as a sunscreen and bug repellent. Elephants spray themselves with water or mud using their trunks and flap their ears to cool blood vessels inside. So this is the other strategy I was just talking about, ear flapping, which is used by elephants but also jackrabbits. So huge ears with a lot of blood vessels work like radiators. Flapping increases air movement over them, releasing heat. We also have other strategies that involved specialized body parts, such as in the case of camels or antelope. Camels allow their body temperature to rise during the day to reduce water loss from sweating, then cool at night. and some antelope have a cooling brain. Blood flowing to the brain passes through a sinus cooled by air from the nose. So the big difference from humans is that humans are exceptionally good at long-distance activity in heat because we have millions of eccrine sweat glands and can dump heat without stopping. That's why our ancestors could do persistent hunting in hot African savannas, something most animals can't manage. And to that point, we came to the point of asking ourselves, okay, so this is another how humans became humans stories. And I thought this was an interesting remarks, and we discussed about that point a little bit further. It is true that about 2 to 3 million years ago, our ancestors moved from forested areas into more open, hot savannas in Africa, and shade was scarce. Prey animals were faster than us in short bursts, but many couldn't handle prolonged heat. If we could stay cool while moving for hours, we could outlast them. Humans evolved 3 key cooling superpowers. The first one is we have millions of eccrine sweat glands, and they are spread all over our skins. This allows full body evaporating cooling, much more effective than animals who only cool through their tongues or paws. We have bare skin with little fur, so most mammals have fur that traps heat. We lost most of ours. Less fur means faster heat loss through sweat evaporation. We kept hair on our head as a sunshade for the brain. And we have the upright posture. Standing tall reduces the body surface directly exposed to midday sun, and by standing straight, more of our body catches cooling wind. So our ancestors use these traits to hunt in a unique way. They track prey during the hottest part of the day. They jog to keep it moving, never letting it rest in shade, and prey overheats after 1 to 3 hours because it can dump heat fast enough, and human hunter, still relatively cool, catches exhausted prey. And this technique works so well that anthropologists think it was a major reason early humans could get enough meat to feed bigger brains. The modern consequences are we still have that heat endurance, like ultra marathoners and desert runners. They can beat horses in long races in hot weather, but it's a trade-off. We lose water and salts very quickly, so dehydration is a big risk without access to fluids. In short, sweating wasn't just a cooling trick, it was a survival weapon that helped make humans top endurance predators long before we invented tools. So I thought it was amazing how we started from the temperature in a car and we arrived to the evolutions of sweating in the human species. And I thought that this will actually make it for an interesting video. This is it, the story of me and my students talking about the reason for having not left the guitar in the car and how we wasted 1 hour of Japanese lessons. See you in the next video.